Hi everybody, Louise Gittleman here today, June 12th, 2020, and we're all here gathered in the great state of Idaho wishing you a wonderful, wonderful weekend and wonderful week ahead. Let me know where you're from with a little hello, an emoji, a heart, a thumbs up, lots of love because we're sending it right back to you. And today we're going to be talking about the concepts of weight loss as well as beauty, particularly as it relates to the skin, which is the real issue in my life. It's how I got into nutrition in the first place. And I've got my trusty assistant, Bonnie, who is sitting here now, and she's going to say hello to everybody. Hello, Miss Bonnie.
Hello, Ann-Louise.
Good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
I hope we have a wonderful weekend. You're hoping so too.
We're hoping for sunshine.
We're hoping for a little sunshine. It's almost summer here in northern Idaho, and we're getting ready for a big 4th of July party this year, so we can see all of our friends in person, give them some real life hugs. We're going to have some organic food, some entertainment, as well as some fireworks, God willing. So before we plunge into that and even our questions, I wanted to share with you a longevity elixir that I make for myself every morning. This is kind of what it looks like, especially now when the weather is getting so much warmer. I want something cooling and refreshing first thing in the morning. So what I do is I take a mixture and I mix some protein, which gives me 30 grams of protein. I take a scoop and a half of the Unique Fat Flush Whey. It's something that I help to formulate myself, so I know that the ingredients are very pure. They're non-GMO, they're hormone-free. We actually get the whey from Belgium, I believe. It's one of the cleanest on the market. I put a scoop and a half of this in the blender. That's the number one thing that I do. It's got some French vanilla extract, a little bit of guar gum, and some stevia extract, which gives it a little sweetness. In addition to that, I add some greens to that particular powder. The greens that I use are the Unique greens because, again, I help to formulate it, so I know where the raw ingredients are coming from. The magical ingredients in this particular formula include broken cell chlorella. Now, Bonnie, do you know why I included broken cell chlorella in this particular formula? No. No, she said. Well, I'll tell you the reason that I've included it. It's because it chelates heavy metals, and we're finding people with record amounts of mercury, arsenic, aluminum, and cadmium in this day and age, as well as barium. So this is a gentle chelator and binder that I use first thing in the morning. I put a full scoop in that, which I add to my Fat Flush Whey protein powder. In addition to that, I use some fiber. My favorite fiber is the omega flax seeds, the milled seeds, because this acts as a hormone modulator. I'll put a tablespoon of this in there to help with estrogen modulation. In addition to that, I have some unusual ingredients. The most unusual ingredient of all is a new product that I discovered called Himalayan Sulfer-Rich Black Salt. That again is Himalayan Sulfer-Rich Black Salt that I order from the Neutradyne company. And I order this because it's a great source of sulfur. And I find that many of us are lacking sulfur, which is a wonderful chelator for excess mercury and excess copper. Now, when you open this up, you're going to see that it has an unusual odor. It smells like rotten eggs because that is the sulfur. But it is so much easier absorbed in your system than MSM that I put a little bit in here, maybe a quarter teaspoon, so I get all the minerals of Himalayan salt as well as extra sulfur, which is an amazing detoxifier, particularly, again, of heavy metals. So that is my unusual find. Again, it's Himalayan Sulfer-Rich Black Salt. We'll put all the sources in the comments where you can purchase these ingredients. My other unusual ingredient, I bet nobody can guess what this is for, although some of my followers, of course, will know. This is Food Grade Diatamaceous Earth. And the question is, why would you put Food Grade Diatamaceous Earth in a longevity elixir in the morning? Well, I use this because it is a parasite cleanser, number one, but for me, more importantly, it's a high source of silica. And silica, of all of the minerals that we have, is not only one of the most deficient in the diet, but it's the one that chelates aluminum. And we're seeing aluminum in record amounts in individuals because of the spraying that goes on, because of aluminum pots and pans, and there's a residue from some of the vaccinations. So this is the chelator of aluminum. It's known as diatomaceous earth. I'll pop a tablespoon of that into my elixir. In addition to all that, I've got at least 3 more ingredients that I'm going to share with you. This one over here is lecithin. I'm a big believer, my friends, in lecithin. This is non-GMO soy lecithin, where all the studies have been done. Now I take a tablespoon of this because this is good for the nervous system. When I was a young girl, many moons ago, I worked in a health food store. And what I remember people doing is coming in asking for vitamin E and lecithin. And they were using the lecithin to kind of emulsify the fatty buildup that was in the tissues, number 1. And they were using it for the nervous system, number 2, because it's a high source of phosphatidylserine and phosphatidylcholine. So I use this just to protect the myelin sheath, and I find that 1 to 2 tablespoons a day is not only good for the nervous system and the heart, but it's also good for the waistline. Because years ago, back in my favorite decade, the 1970s, there was a book that talked about lecithin, apple cider vinegar, and B6. So this, in addition to my Fat Flush plan, is going to get rid of cellulite. Now, last but almost least is the hyaluronic acid. I put a teaspoon of this in. It's a Baxyl product that I get online. It's a superior liquid formula because it's easily absorbed. I use this for joints and I use this for skin. And I'll tell you something, one of the things that I'm most concerned about is that when we get older, skin can start to sag, it bags, it drags, we get a lot of wrinkles, you get a lot of crow's feet, and you start to lose inches. Well, one of the reasons is that the hyaluronic acid in the fluid in your back can start to disintegrate because you're losing disc space. So when you start adding this to the diet, not only will it fill in your wrinkles in your skin, but it will also be important for your spinal fluid and the spinal column, so you'll gain an inch or 2. Hyaluronic acid and a teaspoon of this. Last but not least, although it is last, I use a little liposomal glutathione, and I do that because I do not methylate properly. In terms of your methylation, many of you know whether you've got 1298 genetic defects or 677. I have both. So I have 3 of the 4 detox pathways blocked. I take a little glutathione, the master antioxidant, and voila, I feel I'm protected. So I put all of these things in the blender. I blend them up with 16 ounces of water, and I drink my fluid in the morning. This is good for the skin because of the lecithin and because of the hyaluronic acid. It's good for the detoxification because of the sulfur-rich Himalayan salt, as well as the greens that we have here. And it's also good for elimination because of your omega-3 flaxseed oils. So now we're going to go on to some of our questions, and we'll finish off the question and answers that I promised you for part 3. Miss Bonnie, take it away with a good weight loss question.
Okay, I am postmenopausal. This is Maureen is asking. I am postmenopausal, and I'm wondering if this is the best plan for me. Fat Flush plan or the Radical Metabolizer? Would it be better?
Okay, so I've written 2 detox books. The first one is called the Fat Flush Plan, which I don't have with me today. I gave away my new Fat Flush Plan to a chiropractic friend of mine that had asked for it, and I signed it and I gave it away. I had a plan for today. So for those of you that are postmenopausal, premenopausal, or menopausal, the best program would probably be Fat Flush. Why would Fat Flush be better? It's because it targets the liver, which is a hormone metabolizing organ, number 1, Bonnie. And then number 2, it gives us some of the hormone modulators like the flaxseed and the ground flax seeds itself, flaxseed oil and the ground flax seeds, which are high in omega-3, and will give us the amount of estrogen that your body starts to fluctuate as you get older, but wiser and going into your menopausal years. So Fat Flush Plan is perfect for pre, post, and during menopause.
Okay, Jackie would like to know that she's been doing Fat Flush for over a year, but she said her weight has plateaued for a while since the COVID lockdown. She has gained 15 pounds because her husband is at home cooking.
Oh, he's a good cook.
Do you have any additional support on what I could do.
So Jackie has gained 15 pounds since being on lockdown, as many of us have, the COVID, what do they call it, the quarantine 15. And what program is she on, Bonnie?
That would
Is
be
she on
Fat Flush. Yes.
So, or do I have any ideas? I would, for all of you that don't know my program, or all of you that do know the program, go to phase 1 of Fat Flush. Do it for 6 weeks. I normally used to say 2 weeks to a month. Do it for 6 weeks. You will get rid of your cellulite, you will clean up your liver, and you will start to cleanse your lymph. Because it's a program that really targets the liver, cleanses the lymph, and with the proper amount of exercise, you lose it in no time. 6 weeks on phase 1. That's what I would do. That's what I am doing. Next question, Miss Bonnie.
Deborah said somewhere on one of your blogs she thought she saw a suggestion where she could double the dosage of CLA.
So for those of you that really need to lose weight fast, this is my secret. CLA was introduced in the Fat Flush plan. I introduced it in phase 3. So if you've gained any more weight back, it will change the added weight to muscle, the added fat to muscle. And I would suggest for those of you that really need to lose weight and are interested in having a top-notch antioxidant or have issues with breast and are afraid of breast cancer, that 6,000 mgs daily of CLA, 2,000, 2,000, and 2,000 is the ticket. It's almost a magical ingredient. We're not even sure how it works in terms of its fat metabolizing aspects, but it's almost magical with targeting the tummy fat. So you'll lose inches before you lose weight, but it's 6,000 a day, and I do that for up to 3 weeks.
Okay, Jean would like to know, she said she cannot drink the cranberry juice due to acid reflux.
Okay, so if you can't drink my cranberry juice water, which is cran water, that is the signature detoxifying lymphatic cleanse in Fat Flush plan, then what you do is you dilute it. Now the recipe is 4 ounces of unsweetened cranberry juice to 28 ounces of water, and you do that twice a day, so it's 64 ounces of cran water. So if that's too much, then you just put 4 ounces of unsweetened cranberry juice into the mixture. If that still doesn't do the trick and you're still suffering from a little bit of GERD, then you take a little bit of apple cider vinegar, maybe 2 tablespoons per quart, and use that instead. That was easy. Next, please.
Maureen would like to know, do you have any thoughts as to what is causing the fluid to especially collect this particular region?
So she's got fluid. She's got water retention in which region?
Around her chest area and the sides of her breasts and back.
So usually when there's fluid retention there's a lymphatic issue. So you, number one, have to go to a chiropractor and make sure that your neck is in alignment. Go to a cranial sacral person, make sure that all the cranial sacral fluids are being pumped properly. And I would also suggest that she does a lot of lymphatic movement by jumping on a trampoline and moving your arms while you're on the trampoline. And I would be doing that for 5 to 10 minutes a day, maybe even a little longer, maybe 12 to 15. Next question, Miss Bonnie.
Lonnie would like to know what causes a person to get so tired after eating.
So if you're tired after eating, number one, you're eating foods that are making you too alkaline on a cellular level. So you need to take some hydrochloric acid during the meal, and you should omit certain spices that are very alkalinizing, overly alkalinizing, not beneficially alkalinizing, overly alkalinizing, that can make you tired. I'd get rid of all kinds of pepper, red pepper, black pepper, white pepper. I used to have a client, Bonnie, that would be eating a meal every afternoon at 12, and regardless of what they ate, they used the same seasonings. It was a ton of black pepper. We got rid of the black pepper and no more fatigue.
Carolyn would like to know, can you get too much protein?
Most people, and the question is from Carolyn, can you get too much protein? Yes, you can, but what we're finding, especially when we do blood tests and hair analysis, that most people don't have enough protein. When you take a blood test, you want your protein levels to be at the number 7.2. If it's above that, you're not assimilating. If it's below that, you're not eating enough. So I would suggest that if you're eating at least 100 grams of protein a day, you're perfectly balanced. So 100 grams is what we target if you're 50 and over. Next question, Miss Bonnie.
Okay,
Keep them coming.
Justine wants to say what a lovely and generous person you are, Anne-Louise.
Oh, that's sweet.
And she loves listening to you teach.
That's very sweet.
Her question is related all to the skin. How to effectively get rid of stretch marks, liver spots, or recurring fungal rashes?
So the skin is the second liver, so we look to the liver. So the first question was stretch marks. So you have to put some shea butter or some coconut butter topically on the stretch marks, and you have to up your zinc. Traditionally, we would say 50 milligrams a day, but I've been testing people. You need at least 100 milligrams a day. More zinc is number one for stretch marks. For number two, what was the other concern she had?
Fungal rashes.
So that's YC cleanse, and we're going to reduce all kinds of sugar. And there was a third concern, Bonnie.
Liver spots.
So the liver spots, check your ferritin. If ferritin is above 100, we have to start reducing iron. And the best thing to reduce liver spots topically is something called kojic. Kojic acid gets rid of liver spots. You can get it in a health food store or it's in some cosmetics. But liver spots is just a sign that your liver is not happy. To make your liver happy, you do a liver cleanse or get back on fat flush. Because as you and I, Bonnie, both know, fat flush targets the liver, your fat metabolizing organ, as well as the lymph, which is your fat processing system. Next question.
Eva would, she wants to know the difference in taking hemp or flax oil.
So what is the difference between hemp oil and flax oil? Well, Eva, if you're listening, it's simple. One is a 6, the other is a 3. Both of them represent essential fatty acids. The reason I add hemp seed oil to my Radical Metabolism is because we want to get people thinner faster, which you can do with hemp seed oil. It absorbs radiation and it forms the structural membrane of the cell. Most people are deficient in the good omega-6s. There's plenty of bad omega-6s on the market with the corn oil, the canola oil, and the sunflower oil that's been altered, but not enough of the good stuff. So if you've got issues with your skin, get thee some hemp seed oil. It will address psoriasis, it will address dermatitis, as well as eczema in as little as 2 weeks. That's 2 tablespoons a day to make skin conditions go away. We're now rolling, Bonnie.
Okay, Lisa wants to know what's the best way to protect against 5G?
Well, don't get a 5G activated device. That's number one. Number two, I would get these some shungite, lots of shungite. I wear it around my neck. I go to Shungite Queen for that. I also have a whole house protective system from Altura. And I've just purchased something that I don't think you can see on camera, but it's my new Heat Shield, which is made in Germany. I use this and I travel with it wherever I go. Supposedly it protects at least in an 8 feet radius against 5G, 4G, 3G, and 2G. I'll put it right near you, Bonnie. It'll protect you.
Okay.
I know you appreciate that.
Okay, Rachel wants to know, she's curious how Radical Metabolizer works if you're already on thyroid meds.
How does the Radical Metabolism or the product Radical Metabolizer? We have a book called Radical Metabolism, which you should all take a look at radicalmetabolism.com, as well as a product called Radical Metabolizer, which is very good to get rid of leptin-induced weight gain. So what was the Radical Metabolizer?
She just put RM.
I think it's the book. So read me the question again. How does...
Curious how RM works if already on thyroid meds.
So the Radical Metabolism diet will just enhance the fact that you're on thyroid meds. And I assume she's on a natural thyroid that provides T3 with T4. What we're learning is that what we used to think was enough thyroid, even natural thyroid, isn't enough. So for every 50 pounds of body weight, you need 1 grain of thyroid. I am now taking 2 grains of thyroid. I'm about 140. So I'm taking 2 grains of thyroid. It has made a huge difference. I take 1 grain in the morning and 1 grain in the afternoon. So she may have to up her thyroid, number one, but the diet that I propose in here will also assist her because of the connection between bile production and the thyroid itself. And all that is written in this wonderful book called Radical Metabolism that became a national bestseller after it was out for a month. So it's helpful for people with thyroid issues, people that have issues with their gallbladder, people that have issues with autoimmune situations, and people that are no to slow losers over the age of 40, which is so many of us in the population today.
Okay, how about Swedish and herbal bitters? Are they the same thing?
Swedish and herbal bitters are theoretically the same thing. They may have a different combination of herbs. So in the health food store, one of the most popular items that I can remember for digestion was always Swedish bitters. If you can't get a bile builder that we suggest in the book, then Swedish bitters would be terrific because it'll help your digestion, it'll trigger hydrochloric acid production, and it'll clean up your liver and your gallbladder, Bonnie, because we are in gallbladder season, which traditionally, according to Chinese medicine, is March 21st to June 21st. So we have just a couple of days to clean up the liver and gallbladder with those bitters. I think it's very important for people that have acid reflux, that know that they're not making enough hydrochloric acid, and that need to really metabolize fats in a more clean, successful way. Next question.
Okay, Diane wants to know, would you recommend bile builder for a person with gallstones?
So if you have gallstones, you do a couple of things based upon this wonderful book where I write about gallstones called Radical Metabolism. You get rid of certain food allergies, number one. I can just give you a hint that eggs is the number one food allergy with regard to gallstones and gallbladder issues. Number two, you get something called phosphoric acid, and you get that in a product called phosphozyme. It's put out by Standard Process, and you follow the instructions on fast food. The name of the product is called Fast Food. Number three, you get our bile builder, which because of the content of lecithin and lipase will start to emulsify the gallstones. And you make sure you're not eating a lot of saturated fats, which your body may not genetically be able to process, because not everybody does well with butter or bacon or even coconut oil, Bonnie, especially if they have certain genetic predispositions.
Okay. Isel is asking if YC cleanse is to cure Candida albicans, then why is the active ingredient
Because
Candida?
YC cleanse is something that we've been used for years. It's a homeopathic where like cures like. So that's the reason that our homeopathic YC cleanse contains the Candida albicans as well as other homeopathic preparations. So if you've got a fungal issue, and we're getting into fungal season because a lot of us will be using, well, you'll be in air-conditioned environments, and a lot of times mold grows in air-conditioned environments. You'll be eating a lot of fruit, which I do not believe in, regardless of what time of year it is. You'll be juicing a lot, which I also don't believe in, way too cooling, way too detoxifying. Then I'm going to suggest that you do some YC cleanse morning and evening. That would be number one, and get these some iced Tahibo or Podarco tea, which is a natural antifungal tea. Two more questions.
All right. How is ox bile collected and purified? I question the wisdom of taking body fluids from animals.
Well, body fluids and organs from animals have been used for centuries, and I can just tell you that many of my individuals who have had their gallbladder removed have never had such good health until they've been taking an ox bile product, which is made in a USP certified laboratory and is made under FDA standards. Last question.
Bile builder. If this helps flush toxins and thyroid, can it also help hormones, hair, and skin?
So what you need to know is that the bile is a hormone metabolizing fluid. So the body has several ways of metabolizing and detoxifying. One of them is through the production of bile, which is made in the liver and stored in the gallbladder. When you support your bile, either with ox bile itself, or with a little bit of lecithin, or with some taurine or some beetroot, you're thinning the bile so that it becomes able to it's able to flow through the bile ducts much more smoothly. And that is the reason that we suggest that it's so important. When you do so, your hormones that are dumped into the bile, because it's a detoxifying place for hormones and toxins, will be able to detoxify better and then recycle this through the system. So it's excellent for hormones, excellent for hair, skin, and nails. It allows you to absorb your fat-soluble vitamins better with your vitamin A, your vitamin D, your vitamin E, and your vitamin K. So on that note, I'm going to say thank you to everybody. My voice is a little hoarse. I've been speaking all morning. Remember to get these Radical Metabolism wisdom by getting onto our Radical Metabolism site. That's Radical Metabolism Revolution. Have a wonderful week. Shabbat Shalom for those of you that celebrate, and I'll see you next time.